Hello and welcome to the Geek Primer. Listen to the following conversation.
There's something strange in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call?
Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I ain't afraid no ghost.
Well, I'm afraid of these ghosts.
He's got a problem with the casting.
I've only got one problem, and that's why they haven't used Harold Ramis. And is this a sequel, a reboot, or a remake?
I think that's two problems.
Well, Harold Ramis is dead.
Well, that's not important. They could have CGI'd him.
CGI Egon! Cool!
The original Ghostbusters movie is perfect in every way. Why do they have to keep ruining things?
How can you say it's ruined? You haven't even seen it.
And I won't be. It's just another case of them bowing to pressure from minority groups.
Minority groups?
Women? If I see another male role turned into a female, they'll be the recipient of an angry tweet.
I think you'll find that women are half the population.
That doesn't mean they have to star in half the franchises.
I love Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy is hilarious.
Oh, sure, they're hilarious, but they should be in chick flicks. First Star Wars, now this.
Chris Hemsworth is in it.
Yeah, and look what he's playing. Janine, the receptionist. That's a completely degrading role.
Didn't a woman play that part in the original?
Exactly.
Well, that's a lot sexist.
Sexist? I'm not sexist. That's impossible because I like women. Our mother is a woman, remember? And I like her. Sexist.
So it's fine for a woman to be the receptionist, but not okay for a guy?
It's more realistic. Men aren't receptionists.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I ain't afraid of no ghost. I thought you didn't like scary films. Oh, I don't. I hate them.
Ghostbusters isn't a scary movie. It's a scare comedy. Well, the original is. Who knows what this version will be?
Right, let me tell you something. Busted makes me feel good.
In the next few minutes, you'll learn not only how to understand this conversation, but how to participate in it. The conversation is about Ghostbusters.
There's something strange in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call?
Ghostbusters?
Yeah!
Ghostbusters is a supernatural comedy that reboots the Ghostbusters franchise. A follow-up to the first two Ghostbusters films has been in the works since the 1990s, when co-creator Dan Aykroyd wrote a script for a third Ghostbusters film. Potential ideas were the Ghostbusters being transported to an alternate Hell version of Earth, a version where Bill Murray was a ghost, a version where the Ghostbusters were training new, younger cadet Ghostbusters, and a version where Dana Barrett's son Oscar would be a Ghostbuster. There was only one thing stopping all these versions. Bill Murray wanted nothing to do with them. In August 2014, it was announced that Bridesmaid director Paul Feig would be directing the third film featuring women in all the lead roles. And the internet went crazy. Emma Stone and Cecily Strong were considered for leading roles, but in January 2015, Paul Feig tweeted a photo announcing the main cast of Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Kate McKinnon, and Leslie Jones. And the internet went crazy. In March 2016, the first official trailer was released and was viewed 24 million times in 24 hours. From Facebook and YouTube views, and over 60 million times across all social media platforms in its first week. And the internet went crazy. In August 2015, Chris Hemsworth was spotted filming some scenes on a Ghostbusters bike. And the internet went crazy. So the film has a huge goal ahead of it. Can it make the internet go crazier when the film is released? Chances are good. Now listen again.
The original Ghostbusters movie is perfect in every way.
Are you beginning to understand the conversation? The concept of the Ghostbusters was inspired by Dan Aykroyd's fascination with the paranormal and was conceived as a vehicle for himself and John Belushi. His aim was to redo the old ghost comedies, but with current research and technology. The original Ghostbusters script was the size of a telephone book and had the Ghostbusters traveling through time, space, and other dimensions, taking on huge ghosts. Only one of these remained in the final script. Director Ivan Reitman enlisted Harold Ramis to rework the script with Aykroyd, and their version had roles for Belushi, Eddie Murphy, and John Candy. The death of John Belushi led to his role being recast and rewritten for Bill Murray, and prior commitments meant Eddie Murphy's role went to Ernie Hudson and John Candy's to Rick Moranis. On its release, Ghostbusters became the #1 box office film for 5 consecutive weeks, finally being knocked to #2 by the release of Prince's Purple Rain. Ghostbusters regained the #1 spot the next week, and ultimately became the second highest grossing film of 1984, behind Beverly Hills Cop. That's what you get for not having Eddie Murphy in the film. The film spun off into an animated TV series, The Real Ghostbusters. Real to avoid confusion with an earlier, unrelated TV series titled Ghostbusters, which had its own animated series at the same time. The success of the Real Ghostbusters cartoon led Columbia Pictures to press for a sequel, and despite Aykroyd, Ramis, and Reitman being uncomfortable with the idea, they eventually agreed. Ghostbusters 2 was released in 1989 with the biggest 3-day opening weekend gross in history. A record that wasn't broken until the release of Batman the following week. Let's continue.
It's just another case of them bowing to pressure from minority groups.
Minority groups?
Women?
Women. Women. Women have been cast in previously male roles before Ghostbusters. The first was probably Rosalind Russell in His Girl Friday, a remake of The Front Page, playing a role played in more traditional versions by Pat O'Brien and Jack Lemmon. Other examples include Starbuck and Boomer in Battlestar Galactica, Kono in Hawaii Five-0, Watson and Moriarty in Elementary, the Wizard in The Wiz, Prospero in The Tempest, the Devil in Bedazzled, M in the James Bond series, the Master in Doctor Who, Kaa in The Jungle Book, and Ben Gunn in Treasure Island. In some cases, the gender switch is in response to a major actress wanting to play the role, such as Angelina Jolie, taking the role originally written for Tom Cruise in Salt, Jodie Foster taking the role intended for Sean Penn in Flight Plan, and Barbie in The Prince and the Pauper, The Three Musketeers, and A Christmas Carol. Casting more women in movies means that the roles available to men have been reduced to only several thousand. But does changing male characters to be female affect the success of a film? No. But it does affect the budget, because women get paid less than men. Let's continue.
I'm afraid of no ghost. I thought you didn't like scary films. Oh, I don't. I hate them.
Ghostbusters isn't a scary movie. It's a scare comedy.
The combination of horror and comedy provides something that dramatic horror films does not: a permission for the audience to laugh at their fears. The earliest scare comedies were Haunted Spooks with Harold Lloyd, The Haunted House with Buster Keaton, and Dr. Pickle and Mr. Pride with Stan Laurel. But it soon became a frequent genre with Bob Hope, the Ritz Brothers, Abbott and Costello, the Bowery Boys, Old Mother Riley, Martin and Lewis, the Carry On Team, Don Knotts, Mel Brooks, Kenny Everett, Eddie Murphy, Jack Black, and even Ernest making a film in the genre. So in some cases the comedy was scarier than the horror. But horror comedies aren't just the province of comedians. Other scare comedies include The Old Dark House, Little Shop of Horrors, The Raven, The Fearless Vampire Killers, The Cars That Ate Paris, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, An American Werewolf in London, Gremlins, Return of the Living Dead, Fright Night, The House, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Bad Taste, Evil Dead 2, The Nightmare Sisters, Beetlejuice, Heathers, Arachnophobia, Tremors, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Brain Dead, Hocus Pocus, Cannibal the Musical, Lake Placid, American Psycho, Scary Movie, Scooby-Doo, Shaun of the Dead, Black Sheep, Zombieland, and The Cabin in the Woods. Please note, scare comedies are horror films that are supposed to be funny. So such films as Plan 9 from Outer Space, The Happening, or the remake of The Wicker Man do not count, no matter how funny they were. Now that you've heard the meaning behind many of the words and phrases used in the conversation, are you ready to contribute? Don't worry if you're not. To help out, try using this contributing phrase.
On second thoughts, maybe an all-female reboot would be a good idea.
Ghostbusters!
Good luck, and be sure to check back for more conversations on the Geek Primer. If you have a geek topic you'd like to be primed for, enter it in the comments and feel free to subscribe. Goodbye.
Your sleep has been haunted with whispers and rattlings. Your blood has been curdled. We know what to do. Your skin has the creepies. I wonder what's happening. You're safe in our hands. We will take care of you. We're the Ghostbusters. Spirits and demons beware. The Ghostbusters. Wherever you're hiding out there. We know what you're up to. We're ready for anything. We're bold and we're fearless.